The next one that we have is called diazepam. And yeah, but diazepam is a medication. It's like a mental health medication. Are you familiar with it?
Mm-hmm. When I was in recovery, I was a house manager. I had to go through all the medications with some of the women, so I got familiar with a lot of the medication that the women brought into the house. So I had to really understand what it was for and how to provide the dosages and make sure that it wasn't being abused or whatever medication that it was. So I know a little bit about it.
All right. Well, this song will definitely give you a sense of like what the pill is and maybe why you were monitoring it as well. But here we go. I think this is the right one.
I seen it feel so much better when it kicks in. Chemical kitchen filled my brain destruct. Oh, diazepam me. Turn that volume down on my demons and he give me relief just for a second and he make it all so numb. Oh, why diazepam do you make me feel like everything's not dissolving? Spinning doors are revolving. Swallow a tablet, I'm overindulging.
One of the things that I was really there's almost kind of this romanticism or this like love for the drug, which I've never taken diazepam, but I really believe a lot of my initial drug use and substance use, I first started using drugs, it was ecstasy. And I really felt like I was in need of a medicine. I was in need of something to soften the blow of life because, I just got my HIV diagnosis and I was, a teen when that happened. And like, it just was like life just became really, really hard. And I needed something to like help. And so I think I definitely had that sort of romance, if you will, with like ecstasy in the beginning, because it did kind of like it took all that stuff away. It softened things. Yeah. Do you want to say anything or should we move on?
We can move on.
Okay.
Spinning doors are revolving. Swallow a tablet, I'm overindulging. I've tried diazepam to be the optimist and resist cards folding. You're the crutch that I'm holding. Don't want tomorrow, cause right now I'm golden. Oh, diazepam. Don't lie, diazepam. Oh, ma, when you leave, why can't I breathe like you've stolen my very essence, my coding? Went for a swim and then drowned in your ocean. Don't lie, diazepam. You promised me the world, but now I'm rotting and molding. In my face it feels swollen. Anesthetic, I block that emotion.
One of the things that was coming up for me, hi Carrie, glad you found us. But the thing that I found interesting as well too is like he was talking about, the medication kind of like helped get away the demons. And I think oftentimes there's this like, there is a difference between mental health and spiritual health, I believe. But I think oftentimes it's hard to know the difference, or sometimes you can read them as the same, you know what I mean? And so, and there's some people who don't, who maybe don't believe in spirituality or, having that part of yourself. And so I think mental health in a lot of ways, sometimes I perceive it as how I've come to understand my spirituality. Like I think in the past, I would have labeled more of my spiritual health concerns as mental things when it wasn't mental, it was spiritual. And so I think they're so closely tied that sometimes it's hard to tell, or maybe they're both happening at the same time. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting. There was that spiritual and mental health kind of way of trying to help one and help you. But I think, in a lot of ways, with any sort of like getting better, if you fix one thing, if you can address one thing, like maybe it's just your body and you're working on getting it better, that's going to impact your mental health and your spiritual health, and vice versa. If you do prayer and meditation, that'll ultimately help you with your mental health. And, eventually probably your mental health will cause you to want to work out, or, all these sorts of things, because it can feel overwhelming to try to address it all at once. And sometimes you just got to pick one thing and just really focus on that and trust that the others will, come into play.
Yeah, the only medication that I've truly had to use or truly have used besides drugs was the hormones, Premarin, that we used to joke and call it Beetlejuice, 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 because it was kind of like transforming us, and it gave us a high of being feminine and glowing, and
but it wasn't a physical high, it was like an emotional,
it was a mental
spiritual
high, because it helped me know that this medication is going to help me become more comfortable being a woman and watching my body change. And so mentally it was a great escape too for me. Diazepam, from what he's saying, is that if I'm saying this right, it took away from him the pain, and it gave him this illusion of being better. And the video is beautiful. I love the artwork on it. Really cute. And like Carrie stated, he says he's golden. I think that's what I'm understanding, is that he's saying is that, this pill was amazing, but yet it takes away from him wanting to feel the pain. Is that correct to say?
Yeah, I mean, that's a challenge with substances, whether you go to a doctor and get them, or you try to, come up with a cocktail on your own, is that sometimes you can be trying to address one thing, and in order to knock one part out that is your problem, it sometimes impacts the rest, and oftentimes with substance use, it's like emotional and mental health stuff, like when we got sober, a lot of times they say that your brain is like the age of when you started drinking and using. And so a lot of us have these kind of immature brains and immature, I think, emotional literacy, like really understanding. Cause like before it was like either I'm mad or I'm happy or elated, or like there's very few emotions that you would label things like I'm afraid or like whatever. Whereas now you can start to see that there's a lot of different emotions. And I know, like, sometimes for me, I used to get really anxious. And when I get that anxious feeling, thinking like, oh no, it's anxiety, it's stress. And sometimes it's actually excitement. And so sometimes I just have to check myself, because an excitement is much more enjoyable, if you will, experience than not.
I would have to say, if I had a diazepam, it would have been malt liquor. Because that for me gave me the same effects that he's talking about with diazepam. It helped me be comfortable in my own skin. It quieted the voices in my head about people can tell you're a dude. People don't really like you because you're trans. You know what I mean? It quieted all of that for me. And now that I don't have that, I'm forced to deal with it. And I have to deal with it every day. And some days are harder than other days. Do I want to get out of bed? That I didn't get this job because I'm trans? Or is it because of my skills? I don't know. But those are where my mind goes. And I would drink to wash all of those thoughts away. But now I have to accept them for just normal thoughts.
But now we get to at least like deal with them. And they start to not, because, I know for me, I used to think that I just got over shit or I wasn't impacted by things, but those things stick with you. And until you really get honest with yourself, which is, I think, what a lot of the million subscribers was saying, is like, sometimes you have to wrestle with your shadows. You got to wrestle with the darkness. You got to wrestle with your anger. You got to wrestle with that hate, so that you can actually really move past it, rather than just it sticking onto you, you know, because it does have a way of sticking to you, and it builds up.
Do you remember who told us to watch this video? Which subscriber was?
Who didn't? Like, I'm telling you, there were a number of people who suggested it. Carrie says, this is what happens when the drugs no longer work. Yep.
Yeah, you grow up.
Well,
you have adult problems.
Well, everything catches up to you. It doesn't matter that you, like, it stops working. It stops being the solution, because you can't drink enough or use enough or escape enough to anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, should we get this going?
Yeah, let's keep going. We fall down the rabbit hole. The red
I'm carried away. Anesthetic bleeding, a place for the pain. Self-destructive healing is one and the same. Oh, diazepam. Synesthetic dreaming, I'm carried away. Anesthetic bleeding, a place for the pain. Self-destructive healing is one and the same. Don't lie, diazepam.
They should just use this in place of those warnings on the pharmaceutical meds, because I feel like this has a way of like expressing like the good things, but also like possible side effects, right?
Yeah.
But I think it makes it a little bit more like understanding. This was also making me remember, do you know Star Amarasu? She's a trans girl who sings and stuff, and she has a song called Klonopin. And so she talks about her kind of like her relationship with Klonopin. She also has a song called Meg Ryan, but I don't know, maybe we should listen to her sometimes. I love her. But sorry about that tangent. Ready? Okay. Oops, there we go.
Synesthetic dreaming, I'm carried away. Anesthetic bleeding, a place for the pain. Self-destructive healing is one and the same.
What does it mean? Don't lie, diazepam? Is that what he said? Don't lie, diazepam? I wonder what that is an assimilation for. That,
I mean, maybe lie to me about like what you can do for me. You know what I mean? Because I think there's that element of like, you know, it's making me feel better in some ways, but then he talked about the stuff that he lost in being on it, so to speak. So I think that's the idea, that the diazepam lied to me. It's saying that it's helping me, but really, is it?
right. It also gives me this whole the video gives me this trippy LSD kind of assimilation. Now, you know, Tina Turner did a song back in the day regarding acid, a video that was like super trippy, and you're supposed to, and I'm not going to encourage this, I'm not encouraging this, but you would watch this video while tripping on acid back in the day, and it was just a crazy video. So that kind of brought me to that It's a Lie and Die Diazepam. Thank you, Carrie. You must know this song, Carrie. It's on your playlist.
I love the sound of it too. I remember hearing it, like somebody mentioned it in the message today. And I was like, oh yeah, that's one I wanted to do. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that one today.
Okay.
Because I was also trying to find out how we could get, like, because I know last time was so intense, I was trying to
Yeah.
like counteract that a little bit. And I thought, at least with this diazepam song, for me, I felt really related to my substance use, you know?
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that's important, you know, I'm grateful for the time that I did have with my medicine, with the drugs, I guess, because I think it's what I needed and it afforded me life when I was struggling to have it at the time, you know, and
Sister.
what I know today is that it's not going to give me life. It's going to take away from life. And that doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make what it was
The
for me before.
experience.
Exactly. It doesn't invalidate what it was for me before, but I can know today that I don't need it and it's not going to help me in the ways that it once did. I'm not in need of that same sort of fix, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say that so far, I think 1 million subscribers is now my favorite out of all. I keep changing them. So
I know.
I think that one is my new favorite because that was like so super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So you owe me a steak dinner for not putting this one out earlier.
Right, I'll put it in the mail. I'll put it in the mail for you. Carrie says, yes, sometimes the only thing keeping you waking up sometimes.
What is that?
Yes, sometimes it's the only thing keep waking you up sometimes. Keep you
Is that, would that be your thoughts? Because for me, that's what keeps me awake at night is this constant thought process, you know?
Well, I think she was meaning like the fact that I can actually still get up every morning. Like my life didn't end. I didn't take my life. So I get to wake up every day because of, you know, the medicine or whatever. I probably didn't say that in the way, but that's what I heard it as. Yeah, the drugs, she said.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one is not a REN, but it's chinchilla, because last week you got introduced to chinchilla and REN with chalked outlines. So if folks haven't watched that, check it out. I actually just posted it today. So check it out. And then this one is chinchilla. And let's see, this person says, Jeff says you should do some of the long form interviews, maybe the Zach Sang interview. Yeah.
Write that down, Bonnie.
Yeah, that would be interesting. It's you know, because like initially it was all like just the music videos, but there is like a lot of him talking, you know what I mean? Because there was somebody else who suggested a number of other, when I made the comment about posting a day early, and I said, any suggestions to do with Million? And there was someone who recommended a couple other that were more of like behind the scenes of High Ren. And there was actually like a clip. And there's like a clip from him when he was sick, talking about being sick. So there's a lot of stuff out there. William Keith, who's a regular commentator, says, being unique makes us who we are. What others think of me is not my concern. It's what I think of me that matters.
True story, William. True story.
Amen. I don't say amen, but amen.
True story, brother.
Jeff says, I wish more reactors would watch the interviews. We've all watched them too many times ourselves. Right? Yeah, well, I mean,
we're gonna do it, Jeff. We're gonna watch the interviews because for me, I like to hear that voice. I think it's his whole accent that kind of gets me trippy. Like, okay, what you say? Okay. So, you know, I'm down for the interviews, Bonnie. So line them up, sweetie, and we can probably do great discussions like we did because for all we could have kept going about that.
Yeah, well, maybe we can use
subscriber video.
Maybe like we did tonight, like we can do the interview as kind of the foreplay, if you will, and then we'll go into like listening to the songs and whatever. So, yeah, Jeff says, "Yay!" Jeff's happy about that.
Yeah. Right. So put also some comments in there. What else do you think we would love to enjoy as well, everyone?
Yes, and Daphne will write that down, right?
No, you're gonna write it down. I'm gonna tell you to write it down.